All right. Good evening, everybody. It's great to see almost 236 people already live across various Facebook platforms, YouTube, LinkedIn. This is awesome. All right. My request to everybody who has allowed StreamYard to access your name, please do allow us to access your name. Otherwise, it just shows us a Facebook user. I know most of you are watching it on your mobile, but I have started getting in the feed already here for some of the approved users to StreamYard. Hiral Trivedi, Sagar, you are a part of my team. Come on, man. Okay, so it's great honor today to have five of my very good friends, real experts in American education, representing some of the finest institutions in US, and I'm so excited to host all of them. The only problem is that to host five of them, uh, today, your career coach, Abhishek Gupta, is definitely going to look a little less intelligent. So bear with me. If they end up telling you something which I have told you otherwise earlier, consider them wrong. All right. Because I'm never wrong. Right. Okay. Jokes apart, but it's great to see all of you, almost 400 up and counting. And I'm excited to host five of my friends today, and we will have a candid talk on America, American education, higher education, scholarships, admissions, credit transfers, APs, SATs, and a whole lot more. And as you know of me, I promise you I am not letting any of them go so easy without answering difficult questions. So it is about time that I should bring them one by one on my screen so that they are visible to you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to an amazing panel on USA as a study destination. And on your screen right now is Stacy from Stony University. Joining her is Prathmesh from Ohio, Pallavi from Tiffin, Pranav Pradhan from University of San Francisco, and Dipali Shah from Foothill and Deanza colleges. All right. Good evening, everybody. How are you guys?
Great.
Doing well.
Doing great.
Okay.
Thanks, Abhishek.
Super awesome. I know most of you are actually, everybody is used to those formal sort of conversations. You guys are so used to going to schools and talking to educators. When was the last time you actually thought that you'll be doing a so-called a webinar at 10 o'clock in the night and talking to people who are actually lying down on their bed?
It was
Many
you. It
days.
was actually you. Last time you invited us at 10 p.m. So
Did I? Okay.
yes, you did.
So old memories back. All right.
Not
We will
not
now
even in my dreams, Abhishek.
All right, Prathmesh. Thank you so much. Okay, so my one request to all my five friends out there is HSM Talks is in its second season. Today it's 112th episode. We have gained a lot of traction. By tomorrow, this video will be populated almost 1,000 times or more across various social media platforms. And it is only because we have actually had a heart-to-heart conversation with our guests. I request you guys to be as candid as possible. I know you are official representatives of your universities, so there is very little leeway that you guys carry in the scheme of things that you can talk about. But it'll be great if you can talk from your heart and share your personal insights, your personal stories to every parent and the student who is listening to you, and even educators who would be possibly looking at this video across your Facebook profile, your LinkedIn profiles, because you have shared it, and across our LinkedIn profiles as well. Let me start by, requesting each one of you by telling us a little bit about your university, whatever you wish to share. Pranav, why don't you go ahead and tell us something about University of San Francisco?
Thank you so much, Abhishek. It almost feel like I'm on some game show right now. I'm all charged up right here at 10 p.m. But let's begin. So thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Pranav Pradhan. I'm the Director of International Admissions at the University of San Francisco. Just talking a little bit about, as we are, keeping it candid, I'm just going to go with the flow, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a few things about my institution that just stand out. So, being in the city of San Francisco, we are, in an urban location. Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area. It's a technology hub. So, think about studying at a small to mid-size, private institution in a big city. That's what University of San Francisco is. I'm happy to talk a little bit about the programs we offer a little later, but I just cannot talk enough about the location. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. On top of the hilltop campus, you have the Golden Gate Bridge in the background, and you can see the whole skyline. So it's we can talk about it later. But thank you so much. I'm gonna hand it back to Abhishek.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Pranav will only get to talk about San Francisco and the city later on, only and only if he is ready to extend an invite to me, and I get to visit the city and the campus. Otherwise, Pranav, I'm sorry, you're done. If you want to go, you can. All right, jokes apart. All right, let's have Stacy. Stacy represents Stony Brook. Stacy, a little bit about your university, please.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. Stacy Aquero from Stony Brook University. We are a large research comprehensive public university located in New York, so the total other coast of the U.S. So Abhishek, you are welcome anytime to New York. We're about an hour from New York City. And of course, all of you watching and listening tonight are welcome to come to campus for a tour. There's so much great things to do in New York. But at Stony Brook, we offer over 200 undergraduate degrees, over 100 graduate degrees, lots to do on campus, and definitely talk more about that later.
Thank you, Stacy. So I have been in US for a few years now. The problem is every time I wanted to see the cherry blossom, it just didn't happen for me. Okay, it just didn't happen for me. So I am definitely looking forward to visiting your place and possibly get to see cherry blossom right there.
We have some great cherry blossoms right on campus. So you got to come in May.
Yep, I will. Okay. Next in line is Prathamesh from Ohio, a very dear friend, somebody who picks up my calls anytime I call, and I can call him up at odd hours. So Prathamesh, over to you, a little bit about your university, buddy.
Thank you, Abhishek, for having all of us. I mean, I'm really excited to be part of this conversation. And my name is Prathamesh, namaskar, and I serve as the regional representative for Ohio University. And I primarily work with Indian high school students, counselors, and parents. A little about Ohio. So we saw the East, we saw the West. Now let's come in the center. We are in the heart of the US, Midwestern state, and we are Ohio's very first public research university. And we are located in a small town of Athens in the state of Ohio. And it's a beautiful, stunning looking campus, spread across 1,800 acres. So you can imagine how huge it is. And we offer 250 plus programs at the undergraduate level with some generous scholarships. I think I'll talk more about it as we, progress through the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Prathamesh. Okay, so what's wrong with you guys, man? You know what? The way I passed my geography, you can't even imagine. And now if you start putting Athens into US, I am sure there is something really going to go wrong here, because last I knew it was Greece, and my geography is going for a toss again. Okay. Dipali, Foothill and Deanza colleges, one of the most reputed community colleges in US. Please share something about yourself.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to start my weekend on such a high note. So thank you for joining us. We're in the virtual world, so I'm really happy to connect with all of you virtually. And I represent two community colleges, Foothill College and Deanza College. We're located in the lovely Silicon Valley, very close to San Francisco in California. For those who've not heard about community colleges, we are 2-year institutions, and your bachelor's degree is typically 4 years of education. So what we provide are 2+2 transfer programs for a bachelor's degree with universities. This means if you decide to come to Foothill or Deanza, you're going to do the first 2 years of your undergrad studies with us. What you study with us are university level classes, but at half the cost of most universities in the US. In the third year, then you transfer directly into the third year of a university, complete your last 2 years at the transfer university, and get your bachelor's degree from the transfer university. So that's about community colleges in Foothill and Deanza. We are ranked #1 for transfers to the University of California campuses. A lot of our students transfer to UCLA, UC Berkeley, UC Davis. They also go to New York University, Michigan, Ann Arbor, and the list goes on and on. What's really exciting about community colleges is the support. We give you really small class sizes, and there's like a lot of interaction you have with professors and counselors, which really makes us unique. So more to come. You can go visit my website, international.fhda.edu, and read more. Thank you, Abhishek, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dipali. All right, last in line, but not the least, is a good friend, Pallavi from Tiffin University. Pallavi, over to you.
Thank you, Abhishek. Good evening, everyone, and good morning to the ones who are joining from overseas. Right, so two neighbors here, and Prathamesh, I'm your neighbor. I'm from Ohio as well. So, hi again. So, Tiffin University is a mid-sized private university. We are located in Ohio. We are a suburban campus, very similar to what Prathamesh said, but in different in size for sure. We are a smaller school that way. It's a beautiful campus. Ohio itself is a lot beautiful, actually. So we will talk about scholarships and the programs more in a while. So over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it doesn't get better than this. Imagine five of them talking to you. One of them joining you from the West herself, and they are talking to you absolutely candid. I believe you me, I know how boring they can get when they start talking with their PPTs on, especially for a kid like me who never believed in sitting on the first seat. All right. So while some of them just talked about California and the Bay Area, and I know that some of you who are lying down in your bedrooms, maybe in your living rooms, you have that cult song playing and small little glasses in your hands. Nothing gets better when you get to hear about education, and when you get to hear about education in a very candid manner, because gone are those days when career advisory and college admission processes had to scare people out. It's a process which needs to be enjoyed. It's a process which needs to be lived. And if we do not enjoy the process, how do we expect our kids to enjoy their life? So that's what the entire ethos of HSM Talks is. While we do a lot of so-called boring webinars ourselves, but we intend to keep HSM Talks really, really candid with our friends joining in at this ungodly hour and disturbing your sleep. Okay, coming to my first question, and Pranav, this goes first to you. And this is an open-ended question. Whoever wants to take can take it. The biggest concern as a career counselor that I'm facing, and you guys are aware that I started this entire era of pro bono career counseling through my Instagram lives and through my Facebook lives. The biggest concern I get through these thousands of students who have been following me is they're kind of in a fix. While we all know that COVID is a global phenomenon, we all know that you are equally safe or equally unsafe wherever you are until and unless every last person on planet Earth is vaccinated. Um, but concerns become higher for parents when, especially, it's a, even if it's the smallest, it would be about a 16, 17-hour direct flight. Um, and that's the reason my first question is how ready US as a system is when it comes to the COVID preparedness. With students now almost on their verge of possibly joining classes this year fall, are we opening our doors for in-person classes, or are we still looking at the online classes or a hybrid model, whichever way you want to put it? So Pranav, if you want to start, and maybe if others can join in.
Um, when we talk about COVID, right? I mean, there's just, you can go on and just talk about what COVID has done, what can happen, but one thing, and not just, maybe I'm not just only talking for USF, but just overall the US education in general. Last year in March, most of the schools, or most of the students, they were on their spring breaks. That's when suddenly the whole lockdown started, across United States as well. So last year, the semester, half of the semester was forced online, right? So the transition that happened last year was a forced transition, right? After that, the summer, all the US universities, they got enough time to prepare and plan of what the online world will look like, right? There was just different styles of innovation that you got to see from different schools, how they handled it. One thing, and one crucial thing that really stood out in the US education system primarily, is the flexibility of the system. In the US education system, pre-COVID times, or just forever, has been known for its flexibility, right? Not just in terms of choosing majors, but also in terms of managing your class timings, your professors. So all those that flexibility was really tested last year, right? And I feel that was one reason why so many colleges were able to deal with the COVID situation in different ways. Now, talking about what's going to happen right now, and the whole situation, most of the US universities this fall plan to go mostly in person. I mean, at my institution itself, we are about 70 to 80% in person. We still have some 20-25% classes which are in high flex and hybrid models. High flex is a different modality, hybrid is a different modality. Especially this is the time when students are choosing classes, right? So that's when we were talking about different modalities. But I feel that in terms of vaccinations, just the city of San Francisco has had over 80% of vaccination. There is I mean, I don't want to be just saying it, but I think this, we're talking about herd immunity already with more than 80% people vaccinated. So I mean, it would be too arrogant to say we're prepared already, but I feel we are very well placed for an in-person semester and a normal-ish year going ahead.
Super. Any one of you have a different viewpoint on this? What is your take, Prathamesh? If you want to just jump in.
Sure. I think Pranav covered it really well. But the only thing that I would like to, say here is about the flexibility, that US universities have been kind of offering and have been known for. And while, students were worried that, oh, how are they going to make it without their class 12 exams? Most of the universities had already issued like unconditional offers. That was something that not a lot of institutions across the world were doing, and US had already given them those offers, because when we kind of review the application, we understand that the student is already in their class 12, and we ask for their transcripts from class 9, 10 and 11, and we give a decision on the basis of that and other parameters that are a part of the admissions review process. So students were already sorted, and we had to tell them that, listen, your admission is safe. It's just that you need to clear your class 12. Now, even if the exams don't happen, we just need some sort of a certification. So, even if it's issued by your school and certified by the board, we are still going to accept you, so you don't really have to worry. So that is something that, in my experience, was really something that stood out, and it really eased a lot of students, at least my students, Yeah.
Right. So this question that how important were the boards, especially for the students who were hanging in no man's land? How will universities treat? My question to all of you, one by one, maybe we can start with Stacey here, is that for students who have not written boards this year, and now are sitting on the verge of their acceptance and offer letters, how did you treat it? Did you give a unconditional offer letter, accepted their grade 11 scores or predictives? How did it go about? Stacey, starting with you.
Yep, absolutely. So because of the flexibility in general that was talked about and the way that most U.S. schools will look at students' applications in what's called a holistic review, where we're looking at sort of every part of the application, the academics, essays, letter of references. Of course, the academics are a major component, but we don't just look at year 12 predicted scores and make sure you have those grades when they come in, typically in the early parts of the summer. We're really looking at the comprehensive materials of all of your grades from the past few years. And so using a predicted score is really to us the same as whether or not you're taking the test, because that is what your teachers who are teaching you every day are telling us you are capable of and what you are producing in class right now. So as long as you are having sort of that certificate of completion of your final year of school, those are all really okay and in line in what we are doing with most high school students that complete schools in the US or other parts of the world. So for us, I kept on actually saying in the early parts, man, I wish there was some more flexibility in the testing and just going to that. And I'm so glad that there has been, at least, and we're happy to keep your acceptance and accept you based on those predicted scores.
Wonderful. I mean, I'm sure it has come as a relief to a lot of them who are listening, because almost 700 plus people listening to you across various platforms, and what you're saying right now must have soothed certain nerves. Let's understand that I'm a UCLA alum. I understand how expensive, not so expensive, an American education can be. Especially coming from a very humble background, I still, this is a small little joke I keep on cracking in all my sessions. At times, I tell them that I belong to a family where the biggest asset was such a great technological invention that it could start only when you tilt it 45 degrees, straighten it up, and kick it. And that was the best asset. Stacy is not even aware what we are talking about, but Stacy, we used to have a two-wheeler scooter in India called Dash Chetak. I'm on a public platform, but whatever. So, and that was the best asset that my dad could afford that time. From there to an American dream education was a long journey, but I'm sure that in today's time, because of COVID or otherwise, a lot of dreams have been shattered, where an American education could have become a little expensive. And that's where scholarships and financial aids really come into picture. Dipali, I want to start with you. You mentioned that community colleges are a great way of going into an American system and then possibly transferring it to a private university, maybe through a 2+2 program or a transfer, whatever is the right terminology in your case. Help me understand, what is the kind of saving are we talking about here for parents if they actually take this community college route all the way to an American private university?
That's a great question. Like I said, to get a bachelor's degree from the US, you actually have two ways to begin. You can either go to a 4-year university, public or private, complete 4 years and get your degree, or you can begin at a community college and do the 2-year transfer program where you do the first 2 years with us. Now, community colleges are known for affordability. I'll give you a simple example. If you are going to look at an international overall cost for, let's say, 1 year's education at a private university, it could range from maybe $40,000 to $60,000 or even more sometimes. A public one could also be, it depends whether it's a big public, a big private university, a mid-sized private university, a big public university, but it could range from a $25,000 to maybe, more. So at Foothill and Deanza or most community colleges, the tuition is very affordable. So we are public nonprofit, and for us, our international tuition is only about $8,500. So it just saves on a lot of costs, because the first 2 years of your bachelor's degree program in the US, you typically do the general education classes. So any bachelor's degree in the US, 50% of the degree comprises of the common or the core I could call it the core classes or the general education classes, which are transferable. They can be done at a community college at half the cost. And what's really interesting is, so, most of the time students don't really have to rely on scholarships because it's already so affordable. On top of that, we also give you scholarships up to $5,000 in the second year. And then if you've done well in 2 years with us, a lot of universities offer you transfer scholarships. So, we had a student who transferred on a fully funded mechanical engineering program to MIT. So I would say you can transfer to any university as long as you've done well in 2 years. But the most important thing is you're going to save like a lot of money by just doing the first 2 years with us, which are anyway years dedicated to your general classes. So that's about the cost.
Super,
Yeah.
super. Thank you, Dipali. Pallavi, I also would want to understand at Tiffin, what are the kind of scholarships and financial aids you are looking at giving to your students, especially during this COVID era? Have you gone more generous in terms of giving scholarships? Because we are hearing crazy stories, and I'm sure most of you have heard. I have seen cases, very very heartening cases where
Yeah.
3 days back I spoke to a parent, and 3 days later when I spoke to the child, I got to know that one of the parent is no more. And these are like real painful cases, and I'm sure universities are taking cognizance of it and doing whatever best they can in making the education affordable, especially the 5 universities that you guys are representing. I keep all 5 of you in very high esteem. So what is the kind of scholarships and financial aid that Tiffin is looking at?
So, Abhishek, there are various ways to look at it. So, one is, of course, the merit based scholarships that we offer, which is purely based on the GPA of the student, that covers up to 60% of the tuition fee at Tiffin University for the undergrad student. The other types of scholarships, which sadly many people or many students do not use, is the sports scholarships or the athletic scholarships. So we are a NCA Division Two school. We actually give scholarships up to 100% of the tuition fee waivers. That but that has a process and that has to be known to the students. So any student who's listening to me who has done well in the sports, who has probably played nationals and above, should actually explore that option to look at the NCA website, because that's a very clear and crisp website where you can find the school, see what kind of scholarships they're offering, connect with the coach, get the scholarship, and you're done. Just to give you an example, this year we have recruited 2 tennis players from India. They're coming on full scholarships for the first year tuition, and the second year onwards, even their living expenses would be covered. So there are various ways to look at these kind of scholarships. And of course, the other way to support yourself is to work on campus, which is quite common in the US. Of course, it won't really cover your tuition as such because it's a smaller amount. But at places like Tiffin, because we are a small suburban campus, it's a very affordable place to be. So you can very easily cover your living costs out of that. So that is another way of looking at it. Now, to your question, particularly with respect to the cases, um, to be very clear here, we do not have any policy as such for such cases because it's just too random for all of us to deal with these kind of situations. But yes, we do not hesitate in extending the scholarship. So, for example, if a student is, let's say, getting a $6,000 scholarship this year, and he or she has a case to present, like you said, we may consider it to extend a little bit more. But unfortunately, we do not have a policy as of now on such cases. But a human thought is always there. A soft thought is always there. We do extend a little bit. It won't be
That's what,
huge
that,
change. Yeah.
that's what is great about the 5 institutions, ladies and gentlemen, that we are talking to. Like Pallavi said from Tiffin, that and human element is always there, and you cannot have policies around things which we were never prepared for. It is just not possible. But good universities are definitely looking at each of these cases and trying to take a call depending upon the situation. But thank you so much, Pallavi. It's so great to know, and Dipali, that the kind of scholarships both these institutions, Foothill plus Deanza, ladies and gentlemen, and Tiffin universities are offering. Before I go into my second leg, it is important for me to make a couple of announcements, and I'm sure five of you will grant me that opportunity. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, High School Moms recently launched in the month of June India's biggest and most selective high school student internship in business and entrepreneurship. Wow, it was such a feat. We never thought that 2,700 of students from 120 plus schools will be applying, and will go all the way to 1,100, and then 365, and then top 10, and then top 3. And these top 3 got so much scholarships from the universities, iPads, Sennheiser headphones, and Apple Pods, and Amazon vouchers, and winning certificates. It's been a crazy ride. Keeping that spirit in mind, and keeping the spirit that any American university will also give a lot of value to, which is research, we are bringing our second research-based internship in this series. And it is in the field of psychology and mental health. And would you believe it, in just 4 days, without any school outreach, just through our social media, we have received 1,200 applications, and our school outreach with our school partners is yet to start. It's an amazing program which will span over 21 days. We'll have a case study, group discussion, and a research paper to be written and then presented. And we are looking at those brains in the country who really want to make it big in the field of psychology and mental health. And research is a very important profile building activity, not only to get admission into a great university like Stony Brooks or Ohio or Foothill plus Deanza or USF or Tiffin. It is an opportunity which builds a lot of character in your child. So please do allow your children to participate in research, especially in high school. And that brings me to my next question. And Prathamesh, maybe if you want to jump in, I want to understand what are the top 3 courses or top 4 courses that Ohio is really known for, and what are the kind of research opportunities the students can look at Ohio?
Sure. So I'll just talk about the top programs first. So we have 4. One is biological sciences. We have a great diversity, in biological sciences. So human biology, microbiology, marine, freshwater, and environmental biology, you name it. And, we probably have that concentration that you're looking for. Then the other is business, then engineering and journalism. Our journalism school is actually well ranked in the US. So these are the top 4 programs. And sorry, what was your other question?
The other question was, what are the kind of research opportunities a student can look at undergrad? Are there any in the American education system, or it is only and only for the postgrad students?
Okay, now that's a misconception. Remember, research opportunities are not just reserved for master's or PhD students, especially if you're talking about the US. They are also given to undergrad students right from day one, and especially research universities like us. We are a tier 1 research institution, which means that our faculty is constantly involved in some or the other creative research. So when they're not teaching in the classroom, they are in the laboratories, doing their research. And what this means for students is students also get to be a part of this research right at the undergraduate level. So they can, collaborate with a professor on a topic that, is of their interest, and the professor is kind of pursuing it. Or they could, also do their own research. Because we are a research university, we also have like this undergraduate provost research fund, wherein the student could apply for that scholarship and get their research, fully funded. There is also a travel fund, so as a student and who's someone who's into research, you are also going to be required to travel, to conferences, present your papers with the professors, or do some poster presentations. And you can also get your travel funded through the travel fund. So there are some great research opportunities waiting for all the students at the undergraduate level in the US institutions.
Wonderful, Prathamesh. Thank you. Stacey, I would want to understand from your side as well. what are the kind of research opportunities students can look at Stony Brooks?
Absolutely. So quite similar to Ohio, we are a top-tier research institution in the United States with research availability to undergraduate students in all disciplines. We have an undergraduate program called Eureka, or Undergraduate Research and Creative Activities, where students can have the opportunities, of course, to research with faculty on research that's happening at the faculty level, or partnered with a grad student, or again on their own with a mentor. And the Eureka program will really help connect you to those faculty and mentorship programs. They also help you with writing abstracts if you want to present at a conference, if you want to publish. Students who participate in research get to publicly defend their research and explain their research in a forum at Stony Brook and publish their research at Stony Brook as well. The university has dozens of research centers on campus, so of course there's lots of things to partner with faculty if you don't want to do something on your own. But the university also co-manages a national laboratory. So in the United States, there are federal research centers, a little over a dozen of them. Here in Stony Brook, about 15 minutes away, is Brookhaven National Laboratory. So the university co-manages that national laboratory where our faculty are getting to do research on the national level. We're also the Land and Sea Grant Institution for the state. So as a public institution, we do most of our research through our School of Marine and Atmospheric Science program. So coastal water changes, atmospheric science changes, things along those lines. So lots and lots of opportunities for research. Plenty of discoveries have happened at Stony Brook, like the technology behind the barcode scanner, first ever MRI, the causes of Lyme's disease, just to name a few of hundreds.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stacey. Ladies and boys and girls, I really want to make a candid acceptance here. Most of us, when we look at US, we start talking about those 5, 7, 8 names that are on the top of our mind and on the top of our lips, and we generally refer to them with a misnomer called Ivy Leagues. Having said that, they are definitely, worthy of your attention. But what is very important, and as a career counselor, I would definitely want to give you this piece of advice. Not every kid is supposed to be in just the Ivy League. Every kid is supposed to find out the right fitment. And when I say the right fitment, it could not just be about the size of the university, the size of the cohort, the size of the classroom. It could also mean the weather. For example, I am a summer person, and if you put me into NYU, possibly 4 years, every winters, I'll be sulking my life, right? So I am better off in the Bay Area, maybe in California, and trying to find out my way through 4 years of nice summertime. It is very important that we focus on fitment, because your and my kids are not going to states only to study in great research-based institutions, but also to live and thrive in those 4 years. And that's very, very critical. So please do allow your children to find their own fitment and do not put them into the rat race, because the problem of the rat race is even if you win or you lose, you still remain a rat. And we do not want our children to be rats. We want them to find their own calling and find their own place in this world. All right, that brings me to another question, and Pranav, maybe you can start with, and then we can go to Pallavi. COVID has definitely taught us that there is some advantage in being a small to medium-sized institution, right? And who would understand it better than us in today's time? What do you think are advantages on the other than the social distancing and other parameters? What are the other advantages of being a medium-sized institution in US?
One thing that I'm just gonna tag along from what you were just saying, right? You're talking about the best fit, the concept of best fit, right? So the size of the institution is actually one important factor that students should consider when they are thinking about the best fit. And the reason being is, US has a lot to offer. Okay, when you compare the volumes, okay, when you compare the number of institutions, US has over 4,500 schools, right? So whatever is your style, whether you want to be in a big school in a small city, whether you want to be in a small school in a big city, whether you want to be in a big school on top of a mountain, whether you want to be in a small school on the beach, you will find that combination in the US, right? So you want to make sure that you find what, I mean, do you see yourself in a classroom with 15, 20 students, or do you see yourself in a big classroom of 200, 300 students? Some people thrive here, some people thrive there, right? So when I'm talking about my institution, I'm on this side. We are a small class size, right? We have about 15, 20 students in one classroom, right? So if you see yourself as a student who wants to live in an urban location, right, who is thinking about San Francisco, who's thinking about like a lot more personalized experience. One important thing about my institution, we are a Jesuit school, right? So there are 28 Jesuit schools in the US. So and we go by the phrase cura personalis. When I say cura personalis, it means care of the whole person. That means, let's say if I'm teaching a class, right, I cannot teach you unless I know who you are, right? I need to know who you are as a person. That means it cannot be information going one way, but it has to be an information exchange. So that's what the small to mid-size experience in a big city is like. It's like a community inside a community. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. It definitely does. Pranav, because of the paucity of time, it will be very difficult for me to come back again to you. So, top 3 courses that University of San Francisco is known for.
Our number one is actually something that not a lot of Indian students, look at. It's the School of Nursing and Health Sciences. But if we really look at students coming from this side, it's computer science. We have the School of Management, the entrepreneurship program, and the economics program. These are, I would say, some of the very popular programs other than like psychology and finance.
Super. Pallavi, coming to you, just want to understand what are the top programs that students can opt for at Tiffin. Where do you get the maximum applicants from?
Okay, so our top program would be business because we have a history to it. We actually started as a business school back in 1888. So we have a lot of experience in delivering the business programs. That's one. The others would be the forensic psychology program, which unfortunately we do not have many students from this region particularly, but that's ranked very well in the US. Other than that, I would say cybersecurity and computer science programs. So those are the 4 programs. I'm sorry, I breached the contract here.
So nice. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, before we go to Dipali and ask her about the top programs that people apply at Foothill and Deanza colleges, I want to make it very clear. Gone are those days when you should have looked at only engineering or medicine. World is full of amazing careers. There are zillion people who come to me asking about zillion careers because I'm supposed to be a career counselor. Nobody asks me, how do you become a career counselor? Believe you me, it is a very, very emotionally gratifying career. It is a career and it can really make you earn well as long as you are true to your profession and you're true to the child. So you have to have some innovativeness in thinking about careers. Some futuristic careers do exist, whether it is forensic sciences, whether it is bacteriology, virology, microbiology, biomedical engineering, criminology, and believe you me that if any career counselor tells you that the world will stop at artificial intelligence and data science, I'm telling you that person is not supposed to be a career counselor because there are other careers that will still thrive. Humans are a resilient race. Even to drive a computer, run a computer, you would need a brain. So we are not going anywhere. Coming to you, Dipali, what are the top courses that students apply from India through your route at community colleges?
Right. So we have actually seen a lot of change in perception now. We have students from India applying for programs like music and music technology, psychology. But I would say the most popular ones for international and Indian students, especially for Foothill and Deanza, have been computer science. Also because Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, co-founders of Apple, have studied with us. And Steve Wozniak did 2 years of computer science at Deanza and then transferred to UC Berkeley. So that's a very popular program. And it's a great program. We also have engineering, which is very well known, and then business, because within business, then students can also do entrepreneurship, marketing, etc. So I would say these are the most popular programs. But now, like you said, Abhishek, students from India are applying for biology. I have a student who actually wants to combine the goodness of psychology and music and wants to be a music therapist. The world is changing, our students are innovating, and we're so happy to be part of this.
Wonderful. Why do I see a touch of pride on her face when she talks about Steve Jobs? And the way she said it, definitely there was a touch of pride. One of you, if you want to talk about your famous alumni, you can just quickly tell me, because we cannot let Dipali from Foothill and Deanza take all the limelight with one name. All right, so somebody.
I mean, who wouldn't smile when you say Steve Wozniak did study on my campus, right?
All right, Prathamesh.
Okay, I don't know if they are famous, but they are from India. Venki Venkatramani. He won a Nobel Prize for his work in chemistry in 2009. So we are really proud of him, and he's our popular alumni.
Super. Anybody else? Okay, good. Okay, go ahead, Pranav.
I'll go with two founders of a very popular coffee chain all over the world.
Okay. Okay.
So, and that's the green, and our school colors are green and gold. So that's where
True. I have read the book Pour Your Heart Into It. Yeah. Okay, great, super. Pallavi, you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say green and gold. We share something in common, Pranav. So we have a sports personality, Nate Washington. He's a soccer player, a very famous soccer player in the US. But I would say we are proud of all our alumni that way. So
wow,
yeah.
she takes the beating. Now it's like Pranav was 2-1 to Dipali. She has done like complete whitewash is out there. All right, Stacey, you want to speak something?
Sorry, I couldn't even get off mute. So how could I even compare now? I would agree that we are proud of all of our faculty, many or alumni, many Nobel laureates, many various things in terms of exciting stuff going on. But I just can't thank you enough for some of the candid conversations and fun conversations where I think is a little different than just being lectured to today.
Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, 5 of my very good friends, Stacey from Stony Brooks, Prathamesh from Ohio, Dipali from Foothill and Deanza colleges, Pranav from University of San Francisco, and Pallavi from Tiffin University. My last announcement before I let everybody go, we are bringing another edition of Global Ed Connect, the regional events on 6th of August. You can come and talk to some of the really good universities. Because the attendance is supposed to be kept limited this time, we ensured that we split the event into two. 6th August is North and East India, and 7th August is South and West India. We are getting crazy responses without even launching our student outreach. We already have about 600 odd registrations for either of the days. So please get hooked on to the news related to the Global Ed Connect regionals. You can go to www.globaledconnect.com and register for August 6th and 7th. And for everybody who's listening to me from the tier 2 cities, long the limelight has been taken by the tier 1 and the metros. I know the aspirations are running high in tier 2 in India, and you want to make a mark. So everybody from tier 2, I want to see you out there at Global Ed Connect regionals on August 6th and August 7th. Just fill up the form. It is right there in the bio of Instagram handle. Fill up the form for psychology and mental health internship. It is again right there in the Instagram bio. And if you are looking at your child to get some amazing opportunities of profile building and holistic development, on 4th of this month, we are launching India's biggest high school student club called Guide. It has been derived from a word called GUIDE, but we are preferring it to call it GIDE to resonate with our upcoming app called Guide.ai. So stay hooked on for all that information. Everything is right there in the Instagram bio. So go out there and register for the Global Ed Connect. Go out there and register for the psychology and mental health internship. And I look forward to bring many more exciting opportunities for your and my children so that they can find their calling in this world. Until next time, I wish you guys a very good night, super good night, amazing good night, whichever way you want to call it good night. But stay safe, stay home, even if you're vaccinated. Please wear your face masks, sanitize your hands properly, because the only way you can save the world is by saving yourself. Thank you so much, Stacy from Stony Brooks, Prathmesh from Ohio, Dipali, Foothill Deanza, Pranav, USF, Pallavi, Tiffin. Thank you so very much for joining in, guys. Just stay on for 2 minutes and let me put off the live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I look forward to see you tomorrow with St. George University at 5:30 p.m. and find out how somebody can have an American dream in the field of medical education. What are the ways? What are the do's and don'ts? Tomorrow, same place, just another time, 5:30 p.m. in the evening. Good night. Take care. God bless.